Welcome to Mindset to Motion podcast, where transformation is not just a dream, but a journey we embark on together. I'm Chase, your guide on this path of health, fitness, and mental resilience. Each episode, we will dive deep into strategies that bridge the gap between wanting and becoming, exploring everything from fitness hacks, biooptimization, and nutrition tips to the power of a positive mindset and habit formation. So, whether you're taking your first steps or looking to elevate your journey, you're in the right place. Let's get set to put those aspirations into action. Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Mindset to Motion podcast. My name is Chase, and I'm here today to talk to you about another topic focused on the mindset area. Now, today's primary topic is going to be doing some mental exercises and using some tools to help improve productivity. We're going to be talking about a topic that affects us all, and that's about how to enhance our focus and boost our productivity through mindset training. So whether you are working remotely, working in a crazy busy office, or just trying to juggle a lot of different things all at the same time, we're going to talk about some different techniques and a few tools that you can use that will help you improve your productivity, which will help you also stay sane. So let's talk about how we can improve our focus and stay sharp so we can get more done with less stress. So our mindset plays a crucial role in our productivity and our focus. And a lot of this comes down to how easily you get distracted. You allow your mind to get distracted by small things that a lot of times don't matter at the time, but we allow that to become the one thing that we focus on until we either get it done or until something else grabs our attention. And this happens because our brains are constantly looking for a way to do something easier, to protect ourselves, because a lot of times we're afraid that we're going to fail, or we're afraid that we might succeed. And then what would that lead us to? So a lot of times the productivity gets hindered because we get distracted by things that are, the shiny object, right? And there are studies, and there's a TED Talk about the monkey brain where the monkey just takes control and does what it wants to do because that is easier and that's safer. And you don't have to worry about getting hurt if you just do what's an immediate gratification and focus on this instead of focusing on the thing that's going to be harder or the thing that you're trying to avoid. Now, our mindset is crucial for this because if we are able to set ourselves up for success by removing distractions from your environment, removing things like cell phones or a desk phone, if you're able to unplug that, or turning off like maybe the alarm chime for a house. I have an alarm on my desk, which tells me if somebody's opening or closing the doors or windows in the house. And sometimes it gets to be distracting for me. So I have to mute it because during certain work focus times, I need to be able to concentrate completely on what I'm doing. Another thing that really gets in the way is multitasking. A lot of us feel like, oh man, I can get all this stuff done. I'm super productive and just get out of my way because I'm going to blaze through everything. And there are tons of studies that show that people who multitask are actually way less productive than people who focus on one task and get it done. Now, the reason for that is that you end up jumping back and forth between all of these different tasks that need to get completed. And because you're jumping back and forth, nothing ever really gets completed, or nothing ever gets your main focus. You have 15 different windows open on your computer. You have all of these things that you're just bouncing back and forth between. Nothing's getting your primary focus. And because of that, when you are distracted by all of these other windows that are open or all of these other applications that are running in the background that may send you notifications, you're not able to focus and stay focused on just one thing. So there's different methods of dealing with this, and we're going to talk about a couple of them today. So one of the first tips that I want to give you is try removing distractions from your environment. If you have things all over your desk, if you're cluttered, I know that I have a tendency of just allowing my desk and my workspace to get messy because I just put stuff down and get it out of my way. That can cause a lot of distractions. Even if something as simple as just having a pin in the spot that's not supposed to be in, or having, let's say, a business card in an area where it's within view, that's something that can grab your attention. And you might be like, well, I'm supposed to call this person. Oh, I really needed to set that appointment up. Oh, why didn't I have my pen out? Maybe it was because I was going to work on something. Did I have an appointment that I needed to deal with? Or was I supposed to journal this morning and I forgot to do that? So these things being in your visual space allows you to, or allows your brain to find a distraction that it can go to. And a lot of times we look for those distractions as a way to take us away from feeling uncomfortable. So the first tip that I would give you is remove distractions from your workspace, both visual and auditory distractions. Now, some people say, man, I love having the radio play. I love listening to music while I'm working. It really soothes me. However, if you're listening to a radio station or something that plays commercials, those commercials are designed to take your attention away so that you can be focused on something. But then, oh, now I just heard a commercial for a car advertisement or HVAC, and I really need to work on getting my air conditioning serviced this year. I forgot to do it last year, so I need to make sure I do it this year. It's very easy for these things like commercials to distract you. Now that happens on stuff like YouTube as well, right? Like you've got these ads that will pop up while you're listening to relaxing music. So I would suggest if music is something that you know you like to have in the background while you're playing, maybe get an MP3 or maybe put it on something like Amazon Music or Spotify to where you can have it playing, but you don't have to worry about advertisements popping up and distracting you in the middle of your work time. Also, another thing, if you have the ability to put up a sign outside of your office door, or if like I'm in a basement, if you have the ability to set some notification, think about like when somebody is on air, right? When they're recording, they got this big sign that says on air. Basically means like, do not come in here, do not interrupt. I'm in the middle of something that cannot be distracted. If you have the ability to set up a sign or set up a light or something to where you can tell people, hey, I'm busy, I'm in my focus time, I really need to be left alone so that I can finish what I'm working on. You'll find that you're able to get a lot more done if you're able to just stay in your focus space without visual distractions, without people coming in to ask you questions or to bother you, without things in your ears or sounds like commercials or advertisements to distract you. So figuring out ways to really remove those distractions from your life and during your work environment, whether it's a personal work environment or working for an employer, is really going to help you be more successful and more productive. So look for those ways to improve productivity by removing distractions. Next, I want to talk about a tool that I've started using again. And I used to use it a long time ago. I really enjoyed using it. And then I felt like, oh, I don't need this. I allowed things to convince me that it wasn't necessary anymore. And to be honest with you, I think part of it was just me looking for an excuse to not have to be too productive. And I was allowing myself to get distracted. So the tool that I want to talk to you about, and I'm going to put it on the screen so you can see it, it's called Freedom. This is a distraction removal tool that you can put on your computers, on your cell phone. And when you put yourself into a Freedom session, it will block your websites. It will block your applications that you don't want up. It will block your phone and your computer at the same time. If you tell it those are the devices that you want to block, it'll block things like social media. It'll block things like YouTube and streaming services. It will take care of removing these distractions from you. And let's say you go to it anyways, because you're like, oh, whatever, I'm going to go to it. It will block that screen. It comes up and says, this page is blocked. You're free to do what you were supposed to be working on. So it is a distraction removal assister. It helps you not get sucked into these things like scrolling for hours and hours or binge watching YouTube. So look for a tool like this. Freedom is a good option. They have some free versions of it. Doesn't give you as many of the premium services where you can really block and you can specify website exceptions. So give you an example. Whenever I'm creating content for doing like this, I have very specific websites that I am excluding from being blocked. So I block everything on the internet except for the editor that I use, the YouTube channel that's just for my channel. I use Notion as my second brain where I'm able to keep notes and track my projects and all of that stuff in there. So a lot of these applications that I'm using for creating purposes, I exclude those from my website blocking. That way I'm still able to access and work on things that I need to be productive in, but everything else that I would usually use as a distraction, like YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all these things where I'm like, well, I need to be on there too. That stuff gets blocked off. So I'm able to focus and get done what I need to get done in a quick manner. I don't have all these other things dinging at me and sending me notifications, and even things like on your cell phone where you would normally get notifications from Messenger or a new YouTube video just posted, all of that stuff is stopped. And then when your session is over, it just rolls in and shows you all the notifications that you missed during that time. So it makes it really easy to focus on one thing. This helps you get more done in a shorter period of time. So let's talk about how we set up these sessions. Some people work really, really good in 90-minute blocks. And they know that for them, I'm going to work for 90 minutes. I'm going to be undistracted. I'm going to focus on one thing. And then once I get that done, I'll take a quick break and then I'll jump to the next topic. Some people work in 30-minute sessions, and there's a specific technique that where you work for 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break. And just because you're finished at that session doesn't mean you have to move to a new topic or a new task. It may be that you're going to come back to the same task, but by working for 25 minutes, taking a 5-minute break gives yourself a little time to relax and reset, maybe grab some water, use the restroom. 5 minutes is not enough time to go take a walk, but it gives you enough time to get away from your space and come back to it, be refreshed and ready to go. So I would encourage you to do a little bit of research and find out the different techniques and try them out. I know that I tried 90-minute blocks, and I found that because I have meetings that get thrown into my calendar throughout the day, I can't always commit to working on specific tasks for 90 minutes at a time. So now what I look for is opportunities after my calendar has been booked for a day. If I have a 90-minute session, I'll block that time off during the day. And then that way I'm able to focus on a specific task during that time. Some days I can only do 60 minutes. Some days I can only do a 30-minute block. But what I will tell you is that there have been studies that show it takes about 25 minutes to shift focuses. So if you're working on one task and then you need to switch to another task, you can't just open an email real quick and then go back to what you were working, because as soon as you open that email, your focus has been shifted. And now you're looking at that. Now you're wondering, well, how do I respond to this? Maybe I need to do something with it. Maybe it can wait. And I really need to finish what I'm working on now. So I'm going to leave that waiting. And let me go back and do what I was doing. And then you go back to the task that you were working on and you find that you were distracted. Now you're trying to remember what you were working on. You fell out of that flow state. And you'll hear people refer to this flow state where you just kind of sink into this state of concentration where nothing gets in your way, nothing distracts you, and you're just knocking through the tasks that you're trying to get done so fast. And flow state is very difficult to get into and stay in. So if you get pulled out of that because of an email that came in or because of a distraction from your cell phone or from somebody walking in the office to talk to you, it's going to take you between 15 to 25 minutes to get back into the focused state of working on the task you were working on before. So be mindful about not letting these things distract you and get in your way. It's very important for you to be focused and stay focused on what you were working on. So how else can we improve this? Like mindful meditation is super important for you. If you can clear your mind and just relax and focus, you'll be less distracted during your work time, right? So if you take a few minutes before you start your work, do some meditation, really focus on deep breathing in, deep breathing out, clearing everything from your mind. The point of this is to get all of those other things that have been distracting you all day out of your mind for a little while you're focusing on something, on your next topic, your next task. After you finish your meditation session, sit down and work on the task that you need to get done. However, what I will tell you is that you do need to have a plan. So you need to know what tasks you're going to be working on, which ones you're starting with, which ones you're finishing with, because if you don't have a task list or if you don't have a plan of action, even after you come out of a meditation where you're nice and relaxed, what's going to happen? You don't know what you're doing, and now you're going to get distracted by all of these different things that you're working on. So in order to combat that, I recommend using something like a planner. And I use the Panda Planner. And there's different versions. So this is a 12-month one. This is a 3-month one, depending on what your focus is. But the planner allows you to set up what your tasks are for the day, right? So on just flipping to a blank sheet here, this one we have a whole week worth of hours. And if you set up your task and you set up your work schedule for the day ahead of time, you know what you're going to be working on first. Take that 10 minutes, take that 5 minutes to do some meditation, right? And I talked about it in one of my previous episodes. The Meditation Minis podcast by Shell Hamilton is amazing because it's 10 to 15-ish minutes. It gives you an opportunity to have a guided meditation to relax you, but then you already have a plan of what you're going to be working on, which task you're going to be working on first. So make sure you set up your task, set up your priorities in order of what you're going to be working on that day. Take your time to meditate, and then as soon as you come out of that meditation, get started on that first task. What that means is you're setting a clear goal, right? You know what your task is, you know how long you're expecting it to take before you even get started with your session. This allows you to come into your session with a clear expectation of what you're putting into it, meaning a non-distracted session of work, some time that you're able to focus on this without being pulled away for something else, and what you're attempting to complete or accomplish during that session. So maybe you know that this project is going to be weeks of work. You're not expecting to sit down in this session and finish this task and finish this project, but you have a clear goal and a clear expectation of how much of the work you're expecting to get done. I want to get this part of the project completed during this focus session. Now, I regularly talk about the power of habit and why this is so important. So in this situation, it's going to be similar as well. You make it a habit to do some of these tasks like clear your desktop. Make sure that you have your priorities already set. You already have your information done on your planner. Make sure you have clear goals set in expectations of what you're expecting to complete during your session. That's going to make a huge difference. And making this a habit of planning every day, clearing your space before you start working, or maybe at the end of your workday, you clear everything off to make sure you're ready to go the next day. This is going to make things a lot easier. And having those habits become repeatable and become something that you do every day is just going to make it super simple to get started the next day. Now, everybody has things that are a little bit different for them. So if you have, a productivity hack or a focus hack that has helped you really get through your workday or get through projects and tasks that you're working on, love to hear about it. Send us a comment here or reach out to us, send us an email, find us on our social medias, Instagram and LinkedIn. Let us know what's worked for you in the past or what's working for you now. I know that things have changed for me. I used to be that person who was like, man, I'm multitasking. I can have 15 windows open and I can jump between all of these things back and forth with no issues. And I found out quickly over time that I was not getting as much done as I thought I was. So the more I looked into this, the more I studied on focused and productivity, I realized that for me to get more done, I had to do less at the same time and focus on one specific task, completing it all the way until I had set to the goals that I had set for myself, and then shutting down before rolling into that next one. So as we wrap up today, everything that we've talked about is small incremental changes. And this is going to be a journey for you no matter what you're doing. So please give yourself grace if you're not perfect at this the first time you try it. You're going to have to try some different techniques to find one that works for you. What works for me might not work for you and may not work for everybody. So just try things out, adjust it, make small incremental changes until you find what is perfect for your situation. I promise you, if you try enough different techniques and different productivity suggestions, you're going to find something that works for you. And you'll find that you're a lot more productive when you implement those changes than when you don't. So give it a try and see what works for you. And then next week, we're going to have another episode focused on nutrition. And we're going to talk about these different topics in a way that we can continue to build on so that we can improve over time. And that wraps up another episode of the Mindset to Motion podcast. Thank you for sharing this time with us. And remember, every step you take is a step closer to a better you. For more insights, tips, and stories, make sure you subscribe, follow, and join us next time as we continue to transform our mindsets and set our lives in motion. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram for more resources and support. Here's to moving forward, one thought, one action at a time. Until next time, keep your mindset in motion.